Welcome to Aztecs Now, the undefeated Aztecs, with a victory over Cal Poly, victory over the Army at West Point in their first meeting ever with a school from New York, and going to this incredibly hallowed ground, this famous ground where MacArthur and Ulysses S. Grant and all these amazing Americans who made so much history were there at the point, and the Aztecs were there. And I'm telling you, an amazing game and a win, more important than anything else. And here out of the studio and on location across from Coach Long's office here at Montezuma Mesa to give you a feel of the Aztecs, who are now getting ready for Washington State after that historic visit to West Point. And with all the travel that they went through in terms of delays from the blackout by the time they get out of here, out of San Diego, and a stop in Phoenix, and then 5 hours and 3 time zones and all that stuff, and getting in at 5:30 in the morning, you thought they'd be tired and jet lagged. They started out like a house of fire. I mean, I thought it was going to be like a 50-0 game the way they started. With Ronnie Hillman, didn't take long, 12-yard run. And then after that run, a 68-yard pass to Colin Lockett, who would burn Cal Poly. He burned this club big time. It really looked like it would be a blowout. Give Army credit. It was no blowout. But later in the very first quarter, Army with the ball, and this number 8, Trent Steelman, had just a fantastic job executing. And those 8 fumbles on the day, Steelman turned out to be a big problem when the Aztecs stopped it right there on that next possession. Ronnie Hillman, 16 yards for the score. Just a great couple of moves, great tackles. 14-0 Aztecs, just like first quarter against Cal Poly. But Army ties the game at 14. Take you to the third quarter with Ronnie Hillman again, breaking that tie, going 20 yards for another score. The Aztecs ahead 20-14. So the Army would score after the Aztecs missed an extra point. Army missed an extra point, tied at 20. Abel Perez wins the game. He missed his only attempt against Cal Poly, but the kid was big time here. 42 yards. It is good. It is the game. It is 23-20. And then with Max Jenkins, after Steelman got hurt, number 11 taking over at quarterback, Jerome Long, after they'd driven all the way to the Aztec 20-yard line, 25 to be precise, Jerome Long comes up with a huge sack. Aztecs hold on and defeat Army at West Point. With head coach Rocky Long after that Jerome Long, no relation, sack, and the big defensive plays. Coach, would I be kind of dumb to say, and I'm pretty sure I'm not, in this particular case, maybe other times, that years past, that's the kind of game the other team is moving, and the Aztecs, honestly, they normally would have lost that game. I thought your guys really, forget the score and the closeness, grew up and really took a big step forward in that ball game to hold on and win on a tough field and a good team and all that stuff.
Well, I'm proud of the way they finished the game.
Yeah.
And we've had trouble finishing games the last few years that I've been here. Mm-hmm. And we've been in some tight ones, and somehow we find a way to lose, or the officials help us lose along the way. But for some reason, we were able to finish this one, and hopefully you're right. We've grown up. We know how to finish a game when we're in the lead, and I was proud of the way we eventually stopped them. I mean, they moved it down the field, but we eventually stopped them. Then the offense came in and ran out the clock, which is nice.
Yeah, and this trip was not an easy trip in terms of having to stop in Phoenix, and then you're going 5 hours, 3 time zones, jet lag, all that stuff. Big guys crammed into coach seats. And that's why teams don't go east and win all the time. So I thought, based on, they're going to be tired, they're going to be jet lagged. The start with Ronnie's run of 12 yards, the 68-yard pass, I mean, you came out of the chute big and good.
Yeah, we started well. I think that people have the opinion, even our players have an opinion, that we didn't play well after that. And I've watched the film, mm-hmm. and we didn't play as well as we could have. We dropped some passes. We blew some assignments on defense. But you do that in every game.
Sure.
I think what happened was Army played lights out.
Yeah.
I mean, with the emotion of the weekend and being on their grounds in their first home game, and those kids have some pride. They didn't play well the first game, and mm-hmm. I think they played lights out. And I thought it was, it was to our benefit that we hung in there with them and won the game.
What were they doing? Because in watching Cal Poly, shut them down, and clearly Army is better. They run the triple option better. They must. And their quarterback is better. Steelman, he was just, what were they doing that was so effective? And what adjustments did you have to make to stop the quarterback keep?
Well, they ran 2 or 3 plays that we hadn't seen before. Mm-hmm. One's called the midline option, where they're keying a different guy and blocking it different than we had practiced against. And then when we made some adjustments to take that away, we opened up some other things. So we plug one hole and another hole opens up. They ran some trap plays that they'd never run before. They ran some power plays that they'd never run before. And our players were a little on their heels because they're used to seeing a veer option and all that stuff. Now all of a sudden it's a different guy they're looking at, a different guy they're optioning. And then they were blocking it different for the quarterback to carry the ball. So we never made the adjustment totally. We made some adjustments that slowed them down a little bit, but then some other things opened up. They played a heck of a game. They kept us on our heels.
8 fumbles, you get 3. And I don't know that you want to criticize officials, so I'll do that job. But I sometimes watch Rocky and I'm thinking, I see the ball came, I see it with my naked eyes, and then I'm watching the same replay they're eventually going to watch, and the ball is out. And yet they don't think it's conclusive. And if your guys hadn't stepped up and made Jerome Long and Larry Parker and McFadden made those plays, that might have been the game that would have stopped their drive. I don't know what sometimes they're looking at when they don't overturn it, but it looked like a couple extra fumbles to me.
Yeah, I think late in the game especially that they fumbled once on the drive that we eventually stopped.
Right.
That if you watch it in slow motion on film, it's obviously a fumble.
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't overturn it, but you get bad calls in every game. You got to overcome bad calls.
Missouri comes to mind. No, I'm over it. I'm okay. I'm over it. Moving on. And you mentioned emotion, by the way, with 9/11. I mean, it was a beautiful setting there on the Hudson River. This incredibly historic stadium where I read in their program that General MacArthur, as a plebe, was the student manager of the football team. General MacArthur. I mean, that kind of history. And you're right, it's hard not to get caught up in it. But I thought it was great to be there for that particular day, was it not?
Oh, I think it was special, and I think we felt privileged to be there at that time. And as you say, I mean, the whole weekend, as soon as you drove on campus for our walkthrough on Friday, you could just tell the whole weekend was different. I mean, and our players got a little tour, and they got to interact with the cadets on campus, so they enjoyed it.
More with Rocky Long after a big win by the San Diego State Aztecs at the West Point, hallowed ground, and the Aztecs really came up, made a great effort, and you should be proud. You should be proud. We'll continue more with Rocky Long in a moment as Aztecs Now on campus here. The coaches' offices on Montezuma Mesa moves on.
So here's Hillman. Hillman getting the edge. Lifts it. Touchdown.
On the shotgun, Ryan has time. Can he find somebody?
One-hand grab. Gavin Escobar. Touchdown, Aztecs.
Back with Aztecs Now by the coaches' offices here at Montezuma Mesa with head coach Rocky Long. The boy's undefeated. I mean, you can't win them all if you don't win the first 2, and he is 2-0. And you mentioned the emotion of 9/11. I thought to myself, and mentioned it during the radio broadcast, you played your first collegiate game in 1969 for New Mexico on that field at Michie Stadium, and now here you are back as the head coach after New Mexico with San Diego State. That's got to be fairly different and emotional, and pinch yourself for yourself.
Well, yeah, the first time I went there, I was in awe, and we didn't play very well either, by the way, but I was in awe, and this time I think I enjoyed it more because I knew the significance a little bit more. When I was there as a player, I knew I was in some place important and special and all that, but when you know the history about the place a little bit better like I did this time, you enjoy it a little bit more.
Oh, it's amazing. Looking through the media guide and cadet pictures of Ulysses S. Grant and Robert E. Lee and General Eisenhower and General Patton, and their team manager in 1908 was MacArthur, who goes on to, as they say there, make a lot of history. It's an amazing place, and I thought you guys, and Rocky, I said this against Navy in the poinsettia. We talk about their discipline, military, and their team discipline, but I thought you guys against Navy, and again, Saturday, made yourselves proud with discipline, very few penalties, and just as tough as the academy. I thought that was darn big time of the Aztecs.
Well, if you don't play tough like them, they'll run you right out of the stadium. And I agree. I thought we were pretty disciplined. We didn't make many mistakes. We didn't get many penalties. We didn't have a turnover, and they had several. I thought we played pretty disciplined football. Now, I don't think we concentrated all the time. We missed some assignments. We dropped some passes that would have been touchdowns.
Sure.
But I was proud of the way they hung in there. I mean, the Army kids hung in there, too, all the way to the end, and our guys hung in there all the way to the end.
It was a heck of a football game. Colin Lockett, you worried about having receivers. You lost a couple of great ones to the National Football League. This number 24. I know he had that drop later, like you mentioned, but early on set the tone with another long pass. The guy can get open.
Yeah, he's got good speed and quickness, and he's getting behind people. And when he catches it, it turns into a big play. And now, that's what we were worried about in camp was we knew we had some talented kids there, but they were very inconsistent. And I think in the first 2 games they've probably played better than we expected. But you'll have some times where they don't run the right route, or there was some miscommunication between the receivers and quarterbacks a couple times, and then we had like 3 or 4 drops that we wish we didn't have.
I understand. From Army, as Coach just said, when Coach walked in today here across from his offices, we're talking about Army, and he's thinking, hey, Washington State, tunnel vision. I got Washington State coming up. They're scoring a gazillion points. I mean, this was supposed to be the lesser light of the Pac-10, Pac-12. Doesn't look that way now.
Well, I don't know what the rest of them look like, but I know what Washington State looks like, and they're a pretty good football team. I mean, they're the biggest, fastest, most athletic team we've played so far. And like you say, they're scoring over 60 points a game. They're moving the ball up and down the field. They've got great wide receivers. They've got good running backs. The quarterback's playing well. I mean, you have to be playing well to score that many points. And then on defense, they got some athletes too.
And it was UNLV of the conference, of course, in this last game. What triple option twice now? What are you facing here in terms of this offense and what they're going to run and what they do run? Washington State.
They're always in the shotgun. Most of it is spread. They do put a tight end and a fullback in there, but it's in the shotgun. It's the pistol, if everybody knows what that is, so they can run the power plays and that sort of things. But most of it's a spread offense, which is completely different than what we've seen the last 2 weeks.
Okay, we have to do this. The pistol, and give us the breakdown of what fans think it might be, what you think it is, what they're doing.
Well, the pistol is where the quarterback is actually in the shotgun, but the backfield sets in an offset eye. So there's a tailback right behind the quarterback in a normal tailback position, and then they'll have a tight end and a fullback on the side like an offset lead back, so that the quarterback can be in a drop back position on the snap, or they can run normal running plays that they normally run out of the I formation, which are powers and zones and that sort of thing. They can use play action pass that way, but the quarterback gets a better view of the field for pass coverages, but they can run the pro style running game.
Rocky, in terms of health, going in, I mean, knock on whatever that is, if not wood, not bad. Brandon Davis went out, and Alec Johnson, in terms of snapping with the other hand, everything looked pretty smooth, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, every time you play a physical game like we just got done playing, you got some bumps and bruises, but nobody got injured to the point that they shouldn't play this week. I think everybody's going to be fine and ready to go on Saturday.
2-0, Rocky. Congratulations. Again, that's a tough trip, tough place to play, a tough team to play. Your team was tough. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Rocky Long, they're 2-0 them boys, and with big Jerome Long, who had that big sack on a drive that looked like, here we go again, was not here we go again. Long with the sack, Jerome with us. When we come on back, and Aztecs Now moves on in a moment.
Rayhan baseline for 3, got it! Here come the Aztecs. Alley-oop to Jamal Franklin. Slam dunk. Don't stop believing.
Welcome back to Aztecs Now with number 94, Jerome Long. You have watched him, I'm sure, in stadium. You've watched him on television, and he had a great year last year. Had a big, big day at Army. I mean, take me back here now. Jerome, did you have the feeling I had? Honestly, I've seen this for years. You've been here, those last drives, games at Missouri, wherever, that just couldn't stop them. And by gosh, you guys stopped them. I mean, those were some big defensive plays.
Yeah, we really did a good job stepping up. Army was driving on us all day, but when it counted, we stopped them.
Big time. You had the sack. They get down to the 25. You had the sack. I mean, I don't know if you made a bigger play at San Diego State, but that was a big play.
Yeah, there was a lot of pressure from a lot of guys, and I just happened to be the guy that got to the quarterback first.
Yeah, what were they doing? I mean, you guys played, I'm assuming because Army's better than Cal Poly, but you played Cal Poly, and I mean, the dive play, the quarterback, the pitch, everything seemed, when they would break one, it seemed unusual. That's how well you played Cal Poly. Army just could not stop Steelman. This quarterback was running all over the place. What was going on? What were they doing that was so effective?
I think they're just like you said, they're just better at the triple option. They run a straight triple option. Cal Poly threw in a bunch of different stuff, a little bit of spread, and they just stuck with what they do best.
It was amazing, just an amazing game. Take me back though to the whole setting there. I mean, you guys had a little tour, and it's West Point. I opened up the program, and they've got pictures in the cadet uniforms of Ulysses S. Grant and Robert E. Lee and General Eisenhower. These were students there. I mean, that's not the normal place, and it's hard on 9/11 not to get caught up in all that. Give me the experience of what you went through for the weekend, what it was like emotionally.
I think for a lot of the guys, we were really trying to stay focused on the game. We did have a tour, which was really cool. We got to learn a little bit about the academy. Got to see some cool views and see some of where the academy guys stay and their schedule. So it was cool to be able to learn that, but we were focused on the game.
And you know, I always say this, and I thought that I said the same thing in the radio broadcast at the Naval Academy when they came here for the Poinsettia Bowl. People talk about their discipline, and they are. I mean, it's part of the military code. They have to do that, or somebody, you know, they can't argue. You got to do it, or somebody dies. So I mean, it's a very important thing, and they take that to the football field. But I thought against Navy, and I thought this weekend that the Aztecs, who had fewer penalties than Army, were tough, just as tough, and just as disciplined. You guys should be proud of that effort.
Yeah, the way we train, it's all about toughness, mental and physical. So that's our goal, to out-tough our opponents every week.
Where you are in terms of having played very well, the Steel all-conference team last year, had your third team. I mean, you've made great progress in this, and you've had to do it in terms of with different head coaches and so forth. Are you pleased where you are in terms of your career?
No, I feel like I can always get better. That's how everybody on the team feels. There's no finish line for us. There's no stopping getting better. There's no complacency in where we are. I won't be satisfied until we're 13-0.
I was upstairs. Take me downstairs to the Aztec locker room. You're at the famed United States Military Academy, Army team, with all its history. You go through all this amazing travel. It was not easy. Was this locker room, this must have been a big-time, happy, win-on-the-road locker room.
After the game?
Yeah.
We were happy we won, but we weren't happy in our fashion in doing so. We know we could have played better. We weren't at our full potential at all. And Army came to play. So it was a really tough game, really hard fought all the way through. And
that's interesting, because listen to what you're saying. A couple of years ago, last year, whenever, Aztec fans would have said, hey, gotta win, and gotta win on the road. That never happens. So to do that and to think, well, yeah, it's a win, but we should have done this, should have won by more points, that's actually probably a good sign that the program is not here, now it's gone to here. I guess you got to feel good about that.
Yeah, just the mentality of all the players and the coaches, just that good is never good enough. We're always striving to be great and striving to be perfect, so there's never an end.
Yeah, I mentioned this trip. This was not, I don't know if this is the worst you had in terms of arduous would be the word, but you go from this campus, and take me through that. You're on the campus, and then the blackout, and the lights are out, the traffic lights are out, the traffic's everywhere, so you're delayed going to Lindbergh. Tough trip?
I guess you could count it as a tough trip. I wasn't really paying attention to anything that was going on. I know there's a blackout and everything, but we were just really itching to get on the plane and go and be able to play. So and we ended up being able to, and good schedule. So it wasn't bad.
Not bad at all. See, nothing matters. Nothing matters when you win, and they did. They were delayed getting to the airport. They had to take off, stop at Phoenix, refuel, go to the East Coast, all the jet lag and all that stuff, and time zones. That's a big Aztec win. Jerome's saying, well, they should have done this, should have been better. Don't worry about that. It was a big win. Jerome, congratulations.
Thank you.
And thanks for being with us here with Jerome Long, Aztecs number 94, big sack, big defensive plays, big Aztec win. Coming up next, a look at the Aztec 67th annual Aztec Cross Country Invitational. We'll take you there from football to cross country after the Aztecs traveled cross country. How fitting. When Aztecs Now continues from Montezuma Mesa in a moment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your continued support.
On behalf of our 500-plus student athletes,
19 head coaches, numerous assistant coaches and staff members,
thank you for your support of the Aztec Club.
We couldn't do it without your support.
thank you,
Thank you.
thank you, and go Aztecs.
shotgun. Ryan has time. Can he find somebody? One-hand grab. Gavin Escobar. Touchdown, Aztecs.
Welcome back to Aztecs Now, going from football and the Army and all that happened over the weekend to the Aztecs' 67th annual cross-country invitational. And Coach Sheila Burrell has something special planned for you. A report from my colleague, Mike Costa.
The Aztec Cross Country Invitational has been happening annually at Balboa Park for the past 66 years. Now in year 67, San Diego State is bringing back the Community 5K race as part of the event. And head coach Sheila Burrell couldn't be more excited.
Our Aztec invite is, I'm actually really excited what we're doing with the Aztec this year. You know, we've got some good teams coming for the meet again. Last year we had BYU. We had a really good collegiate competition. And it's the 67th annual Aztec invite. And I've gone back and looked at the history of who's competed at the Aztec in the past. I mean, there's been at least 4 or 5 Olympians that have been to the Aztec before. There's a tremendous history around the Aztec Invitational being competed right here at Balboa Park. And so what we're doing this year is we are, in addition to our collegiate section, we're having a 5K community race. And so, you know, that's an opportunity for alumni to come back, former student athletes in the San Diego State, San Diego State community and San Diego community at large to come out and, and run on this historic course. I mean, it's a great course. It's hard. It's a little hilly, but I'm looking forward to the meet. I'm looking forward to how the community 5K is going to grow. And I think that this time, where the team is this year is further ahead than they were last year at this time. So that's really good.
The event also signifies the start of the 2011 season for the Aztec cross-country team. Captain Marianne Hogan says that with the talented roster, this year's squad has the potential to do some special things.
We're expecting a really good year, actually. We have a lot of incoming transfers and freshmen, and so we lost a couple of seniors, but we're excited that the incoming will bring a positive attitude, and we really want to compete and be competitive out there at San Diego State Aztec Invitational.
The Aztec Invitational has seen several future Olympians, and now with the Community 5K added, there is plenty for the San Diego distance community to get excited about. It's all happening this Saturday, September 17th, beginning at 8 a.m. More information can be found at goaztecs.com. I'm Mike Costa for Aztecs Now.
Aztecs trying to be 3-0. Doesn't happen often, hadn't happened lately, might happen Saturday. Tickets still available, but they're going fast, literally. 3:30 game at Qualcomm Stadium. You can watch it here on Channel 4. Radio broadcast at AM 600 Kogo. And Washington State Cougars, most points of any team per game in the country. That's Aztecs Now here at Montezuma Mesa by the coaches' offices. That's for the Aztecs win at West Point. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you next week.